Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hindu Explain series. I am Kushagra Goel, and on a Sunday we have certain doubts that students have put up from the things that we discussed yesterday and some generic doubts, right? And also I am glad that a lot of you have liked our initiative that we are providing you with the notes in the background, right? Because a lot of times all of you would be making notes on your phones, or for example you would be making notes on your laptops, right? So we understand that you want to borrow the image from there and then make your notes above it, right? So on that note, I hope all of you make use of the notes properly, right? Another announcement that I have to make for all of you, right? So some students have asked that if they have started preparing right away, right? Can they do CLAT? One, the answer is definitely yes, right? Because certain sections of the CLAT paper are not about things that you mug up overnight. Those are skills that you acquire over a long time period, right? For example, maths. For example, reasoning questions, English passages, legal, which is more application based. So there also you don't need in-depth analysis, or you cannot learn English overnight. But at the same time, if you have some prior knowledge, plus if you apply your mind properly during the examination also, there is no power that can stop you from clearing the examination. The first step that any candidate should do with regards to any entrance examination is to have the belief that you can do it. Only when you have the belief that you can do it, you will find the tools and the mechanisms to clear it eventually. So believe in yourself that you can do it whenever you start, right? So that is the first thing. Now the announcement that I had made, this is something that we had discussed when we had started the series also, right? That from mid-February onwards or closer to March, we would be doing a little bit of revision of general knowledge from the months that are relevant, right? So I had promised that when we come a little closer to the examination, we would be doing revision videos. So the plan as of right now, as it stands, it's still in the ideas section, that we would be doing 2 videos per month to cover a quick revision of what all things were relevant from those headlines. Because for example, COVID-19 vaccines, right? So COVID-19 vaccines, multiple vaccine candidates that we discussed over time, right? Or the US elections. So the controversy from voter fraud till eventual reveal and final results and confirmation, all of that took place over 2.5 months, right? So in that time period, certain headlines were important. Obviously, candidates who have been watching this consistently, the benefit of this is that for those who have been consistent with it, that when you watch the revision videos, you will actually be purely revising and just plugging the gaps that have been there, because it's been a long time since you first read it, right? But for those, it will be beneficial for them to know what are the things that are important and what things they have to start studying now, right? And then those students who find that certain headlines are important, what they can do is that they can go back, look in the Word document, control find wherever we have discussed those topics multiple times, doubts that we have clarified for students at large, pick up that bit of the video, because all our videos are divided into chapters, right? Every video is within it has a heading for 1 to 10 minutes wherever I have explained something. So there you find all the knowledge and your doubts also. And obviously we are there to help your doubts when you are doing the revision videos. If you have any particular doubt, obviously you can put them in, right? So we will start doing this from mid-February or last February week onwards, because we would try to cover as many months and more headlines in that. So doing it right now would not provide that much realistic content. So we will be doing it at a later bit of time. On that note, I will begin with the doubts first, right? So one doubt a lot of students had was about the currency swap and credit line extension agreements, right? So there is an article about that today, and I will be explaining that doubt then and there, right? Another doubt students had was about, is the president bound to take the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers? Yes, he is bound to take the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. And with regards to mercy petitions also, the President does take or act on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Alright. Then on that other hand, there is one doubt about anticipatory bail, interim bail and different kinds of bails and parole and punishment, right? So anticipatory bail, interim bail, this is something that I have discussed previously when we discussed the case of Arnab Goswami in the month of November, December. This was, I had done multiple times. Now, what is parole and bail, right? Now, parole is something that you get when you have been confirmed as a convict, alright? Your punishment, your crime has been ascertained. So, for example, I steal away someone's mobile phone, right? Then that person goes to the police station and says, Kushagra Goel stole my mobile phone. In anticipation or pending inquiry, I am arrested. When I get free from the police station, that is when I get a bail. But when I get, for example, I am now confirmed that Kushagra Goel stole this mobile phone and I am given imprisonment for, let's say, 3 months or 6 months, right? Now, when, for example, I say that there is a health emergency or there is something of a emergency in my household, right? So then the jail authorities, based on my conduct, let me go for 2-3 days. That time period is when it is known as that I am on parole, alright? So a recent case was this, which was in popular imagination, was Sanjay Dutt's case, right? So he had come out of jail for a time period of 6-7 months. That was his parole time period. Bail is when your crime is not confirmed, alright? Parole is when your crime is confirmed and you have come out of jail. So you can understand it by two differences. One, bail is when the crime is not confirmed. Parole is when the crime is confirmed. Bail is something when you are released from the police station. You are in custody at a police station. In parole, you are in imprisonment in a jail. So the place where you are kept is also different and the reason why you are being released is also different. Alright, for anticipatory bail and interim bail, I suggest viewers to go and check our word file, because this is something that I have explained multiple times. Alright, then moving ahead about Russia and Alexei Navalny, right? So we had discussed this previously also, the ongoing trial of Alexei Navalny and what is happening in Russia. It is generally relevant because you know the persons in news. It is still an ongoing story, so therefore it's not confirmed as to what will happen, those, right? Then moving ahead, what is court martial and what a governor or president concerns allowing a person pardon. So that is something that is dependent on discretionary power of the president and the governor and the government, what they think, right? But at the same point of time, so ideally you should act, the governor or the president should act on the aid and advice with regards to pardon, but this is not hard and fast rule. It's, the constitution only says you have to act on the aid and advice. It does not mean, it is not stating that it is mandatory. For example, yesterday only we saw the state government in Tamil Nadu stated that you should pardon this person, but the governor stated I am not the correct authority to do so and the president is, right? So that is something that we have to see. Now another thing is about court martial. What is court martial, right? So for example, let's say I go to jail for a crime, right? Again, stealing the mobile phone. So I've gone to jail, then I come back and let's say right now I am doing the YouTube series. Again after jail I come back and I can continue with this, right? But court martials, for example, a person in the armed forces, right? Navy, Air Force or the army, right? 3 sections of our armed forces. When you are employed there and you do something that is not following the procedure, let's say you passed on the information to the enemy or you leaked or you monetized the technology that was being developed by India, so then that is also a crime. When you are court-martialed after, let's say you served your punishment, let's say 6 years, 10 years, whatever your punishment, once you come back, you cannot get employed in the same place, right? Now, let's say a person, a politician, he or she gets convicted, goes to the jail, then is come back and can still fight elections or give rallies. No one stops him from doing that, right? But, or let's say any other person, for example, Subrata Sahara, right? Subrata Roy, who is the chairman of Sahara. So he went to jail, he has come back, he's still functioning as a person who takes decisions of the Sahara Group, right? So those things in places in normal life, even after you serve a punishment, you can still continue in that area of employment. But in cases of court martial, the armed forces are never going to accept you back, and that is how it differentiates, right? On that note, we will begin with today's newspaper, right? So on the left hand side, there is a news of what Niti Aayog is doing. It has commissioned a report. It is going to do what it is to examine unintended economic consequences of judicial decisions that have hindered and stalled big ticket projects on environmental grounds. So there are 5 projects that Niti Aayog is actually going to see and anticipate the economic losses of this. Now, this is again the question between current development and sustainable development, right? Now, let's say that this sand mining does go on, right? There is mining, unrestricted mining goes ahead, and the environmental damage of this will go on. So sand mining, sand will be used for construction projects. Obviously, people will get houses, roads will be built, whatever. Sand is good for construction. It will going to help some or the other person. But what about the future generations, right? The damage that this unrestricted sand mining will cause to the future generations. Will the people who have consumed the sand today go and pay back? Will they be there to be held accountable? For example, we will also come across a theory today in the news that the glaciers in Himalayas are melting at a faster pace. The sea level is rising, and because of unrestricted climate change or carbon emissions, overall the earth is suffering. A lot of species have passed away. Are those people who are beneficiaries of this projects or those actually going to be accountable for those species or human beings who suffer because of climate change events, right? Right? So this is what we need to know from here is only certain things, right? So this is just a report that is still being prepared and the economic cost of this, right? So generally what will happen, or there is also criticism of this from environmentalists, that is to say that the reason why they have been paused is because they cause large scale environmental damage, and the growth that we may have from these right now would have large scale consequences on the entire population in future. For example, how does this work out? So we have a lot of cyclonic storms happening more often nowadays, right? So we may have certain people getting jobs because of this. Some construction cost will go down, but in the large scale, the damage that it causes to people at shores or in cities, for example, Sundarbans, cyclone Amphan caused huge amount of damage in Sundarbans and the city of Kolkata, right? So the benefit here, certain people will benefit here, certain people will, or huge number of people will have losses there. So it is this what this study will check out, right? Then on the left hand page, yesterday the farmers had pronounced that they will be doing a 3-hour Chakka Jam, and the reports are that it was peaceful and there was support from general, right? Then moving ahead, there was a stamp released in commemoration of the Diamond Jubilee of the Gujarat High Court, and with that Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, Justice M.R. Shah and the Prime Minister himself also spoke about, and he stated that judiciary has always stood up or interpreted the constitution on progressive lines, right? So this is just information. On the front page, one thing that you need to know, this is in addition to what we had done previously. So now FSI, this was the speculation that was going on, has put a limit on trans fat content in food, right? So what they have done is, now industrially produced trans fatty acids are found there has been a cap imposed, right? So earlier this cap was only imposed on oils, right? And then now it has put in general, right? So 3% by 2021 and 2% by 2022 from the current level of 5%. Trans fats are those that lead to higher level of cholesterols and cause a greater risk to our hearts, right? And India suffers approximately 70,000 deaths because of heart diseases every year, right? Then on the national news, nothing of relevance for us, more updates about what happened in the Chakka Jam and vaccine in general. there are still cases being reported across the country, and that is what it means that we still cannot keep our guard down, right? Then moving ahead, as you know that on the Sunday there are no editorials, but there are general profiles, right? So that is what we need to see. I am skipping what is not relevant. Then on here is a news about General Thimaya's house being converted into museum. So who was Justice General Thimaya? General K.S. Thimaya served as a chief of army staff from 1957 to 1961, and his ancestral home, that is Sunnyside, has been converted into a museum. And our current president Ramnath Kovind has visited the museum yesterday in Madikeri. All right. Then moving ahead, so for our external affairs minister was stating that how India has become the pharmacy of the world by supplying medicines to different countries, and we are supplying more and more COVID vaccines to more and more states, right? And the second dosage of vaccines will be administered from February 13. So India is going to follow a mostly 4-week gap, because we started the vaccination drive on 16th January. So if you calculate the date, it would approximately be the 4th week. All right. Then moving ahead, this is an update again from the Aero India show that K-226 utility helicopters which would be jointly manufactured locally by India and Russia with transfer of technology, the indigenous content in them is 33%, right? And it is trying to bring overall content of indigenous components within this up to 70%, right? Then moving ahead, this is again developing story from Myanmar that it has shut down internet. So the military coup has taken over and there is internet blackout now in the country to avoid information flowing in. And then, as I told you, that on the newspaper there is a story about currency swap, right? So what is this story about? This is India ending the current currency swap and credit line. Now what is currency swap? Now normally when you do international trade, that trade is usually in a uniform foreign currency, because the reason why this is because Indian rupee in India has a certain value and in Sri Lanka, let's say, has a different value, right? So it is valued 1 rupee in India of Indian national rupee is equivalent to almost 3 rupees of Sri Lankan rupee, right? So you see a difference. So therefore, because this difference will keep on changing, what countries do when they engage in international trade, they do a third currency. Excuse me. They do it through a third currency. What is usually the currency that they follow is the US dollar, right? So in this currency swap agreements, what we agree is that one kind of payment, let's say principal amount, will be in Indian rupee and the repayment of it would be in the domestic currency of that country. What this does is it reduces the burden on the country who is borrowing money to depart with its precious foreign currencies, right? Because foreign investment is hard to come by, and when you try to pay for your domestic needs in foreign currency, that increases the burden. So it is a concession that is made. Credit line, at the same hand, is cheaper credit to particular industries or individuals through a particular bank. So India had extended a line of credit that is approximately 960 million. Debt repayment of Sri Lanka is pending, right? And overall 400 million currency swap facility from RBI has now come to an end, right? So this is what you need to understand. Now it is being read that this is India doing it in light of the ECT terminal where Sri Lanka has not extended or upheld the memorandum of understanding, something that we read yesterday. But both the currencies have stated that, see, this is completely different and that is a completely different matter. This is something India had already extended because of COVID-19. Sri Lankan economy is going through a hard time, and India and China and overall also Sri Lankan economy has been borrowing money. There is probably need for a bailout package from IMF or anywhere else. Sri Lanka is trying to avoid that and get more debt from its friends or allies, right, such as China, India or other countries. But what you need to know is the currency swap and credit line. If you still have doubts about it, please feel free to ask me. But in general, I'll give you also another example of this is, for example, when Iran was put under sanctions, India could import Iranian oil in Indian currency instead of US dollars, because Iran could not get investment in US dollars because of sanctions. So because they did not have that currency, we could pay them in our rupee and they could then convert it, right? So that is also a mechanism. So these are credit lines. Currency swap is basically to reduce dependent on a third currency and use trade of each other's domestic currencies. All right. Then China has approved a second domestic vaccine. What is that vaccine? It is Sinovac Coronavac jab, right? So earlier they had approved Sinopharm's vaccine and now they have given approval to another vaccine. Efficacy of this vaccine is around 50 to 80%, right? Then moving ahead, this is all the economic news not relevant for us, policy updates. Again, this is about mutation test. How is it done so? Automated computation tool, infectious pathogen detector, not relevant for us that much. And for the first time, astronomers have come across a huge planet which is half the mass of Jupiter and cloudless and unblocked by haze, which is named as WASP 62b, right? And it is 575 light years away. All right. Then I had told you on the front page that climate change impact, we have a story about that, which is water scarcity likely in Himalayan catchment if warming continues. Overall, glaciers in Himalayas, which is also considered the third pole area of the earth, because the temperatures in Himalayan region or the water stored in Himalayan glaciers, it's equivalent to the ice that is capped in Arctic and the Antarctic regions. And because of climate change, the glacier melt has increased from 15 to 70%, which is more waters in the river, less cold weather there, and overall this increases or changes the climatic conditions in the northern India in general. All right. So we need to take steps vis-a-vis climate change on a daily basis. All right. Then moving ahead, on the left hand side, this is the story about government regulations and tech platform. All of this is the same thing that we had discussed day before yesterday about what compliance they need to be making, right? So again, it is about 69A. There is no specific law in India. Overall, there are community guidelines, and if there is any content that violates the guidelines, then that has to be removed, right, under section 69A of the IT Act. Then on the left hand side, this was about one-person companies and certain restrictions being reduced in that for the budget. Again, another policy one. And here about the bad bank proposal. So again, this is an analysis of whether it will be good or not. RBI finance minister has announced that we would be having a bad bank. What this would be doing? This would be taking up the debt of certain public sector banks and parking it with itself, right? So we have been discussing this overall in the budget also, and we'll have to see how it is functioning, right? Then moving ahead, this is the analysis, the entire story of the coup in Myanmar and the origins of military rule there, right? So the junta and the party that has withstood that onslaught, which is Aung San Suu Kyi's NLD. So this is the story about it, how when it was founded September 27, 1988, and it had withstood elections did take place in 1990 which were not accepted by the military. Then in 2010 there was a constitution which was belatedly accepted by NLD, and for 5 years they were in power. They got elected again, but because they have become powerful and the people believe in them and not the military, and the military wants to control power directly, they have done a coup, right? Then on the left hand side is about a person, Countryside Calm. So this is the Chinese YouTuber pronounced Zishi, right? Now Zishi has become the highest YouTube subscriber on YouTube by a lingual language, that is Chinese language, right? And what she does is basically she is talking about soft power of China, different how countryside China lifestyle is completely different. And what this article is telling us is how overall the community in China can or has a soft power on its own instead of the military or the media outlets that are supported by the Communist Party of China. So if the military or the Communist Party let go of its control, the soft power of China would naturally be better, which is identified through the success of her and other YouTubers in China. And then on the left hand side, this is about far right groups known as Proud Boys. Now Proud Boys have been involved. This is a far right group in the sense misogynistic, chauvinist group of male based in Canada and United States. They have a branch in New York, which were involved in US Capitol Hill violence. They have been on an online story for fake news spreading plus directly involved in violence, and Canada has declared this organization as a terrorist group. This is what it tells us, that in general you need to stop violence or hateful content and its bud. This is something similar to what the Supreme Court stated, that you have to take actions against these organizations naturally, in the sense that you have to kill such ideas at the beginning. When the Supreme Court made remarks that you need to stop hateful speech at the outset of it, and that is something that Canada has done against this far right group known as Proud Boys. Alright, then on the sporting front, not relevant for us, therefore that is the end for the day. That is all from our side on that particular day. All you need to make a note of is the details about the NLD. That is the most important story from this particular day. On that note, I will end for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like the content that we are doing, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, do subscribe to it.